Hey guys, it's Matt from WDW Happy Hour here. I'm here with what I think is my first ever vlog, if that's what we're still calling them. It is April 2020 something, and I'm in lockdown. It is quarantine, and I'm here to do a video that I've been saying I'm gonna do for a really long time and have procrastinated and put it off for long enough, and now I have no better excuse. And so I'm bringing you my Disney vinyl collection. I have been collecting records for several years now. I've amassed, I think, over 200 records at this point, and I realized that I have a lot that are Disney, Marvel, maybe Pixar, I don't know, Disney records. Some of them that are really cool, and I'm here to share with you what I have. So without further ado, here they are. For the first official Disney records, I'm going to be sharing one of the coolest additions to my collection, at least I think so, and it is this. What is this, you ask? This is an original box of Disneyland Records. As you can see, here are your Disneyland Records. The postmark at the top is from 1978 from Burbank, California, and I believe that you could send off via mail order for Disney vinyl records. And in this box, which we found that was unopened at our local record store, shout out to Tom's Music Trade in Red Lion, Pennsylvania, we found this, and it must have been from an estate sale or something, but the contents of this box was never open. Everything was in pristine condition. So before I get to the records, I want to show you what bonus was in here. And it's the Disney See Me Grow chart. And again, this is from the 70s, and this is in absolute pristine condition. This is one of those grow charts you would put on your wall, and you can track your progress. And look, it's got all the 7 dwarfs on it. And yeah, it's in beautiful condition. So let's get to what was inside. All right, the first record is Walt Disney Presents Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day. Now, the cool part about a lot of these records that are in here is they're combination storybooks and records. So they've got an actual illustrated storybook inside the gatefold of the record, but then they also have narrated story on the vinyl and then also some of the songs. So let's take a look here. This one's really cool. It's got Sterling Holloway, who is the original voice of Winnie the Pooh. And take a look here inside the gatefold. So you've got your liner notes on the side here, but then you also have, like I said, a beautiful illustrated storybook. And like I said, these were never open when we got them. And these range anywhere, I looked these up, all the records in here, and there were 8 of them, range anywhere from the late 60s to the mid 70s. So considering that some of these are like 50 years old, they're in incredible condition. The record is nothing special. I kept all of these in the original inner sleeves that they came with, which honestly, they held up really nicely. But you got the really cool Disneyland logo on the record there. Next one I have here, very similar to the Winnie the Pooh one, is Robin Hood. Story and songs from the movie Robin Hood, a magnificent full-color illustrated book and long-playing record. I love all the art on this. It's really cool. Again, narration by Roger Miller. So again, very similar to the Winnie the Pooh one. You've got the liner notes on the left. You've got the story on the right, which I'm assuming just tells you the story of the movie Robin Hood. So if you've seen it, probably know the story already. So let's open this up and see what actual tracks are on here. Again, these usually combine a bit of spoken narrative that kind of goes through the story of the movie, and then we'll hit you with some of the songs. So yeah, you got Oodalolly, sung by Roger Miller, as you would hear in the movie. You've got that classic Disneyland logo on the center label there. On side 2, you got The Phony King of England, finale with a reprise of Oodalolly. But yeah, pretty cool record. And in retrospect, I should have done this one first because it's the first ever full-length animated feature. And that's Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. Same deal, you got story, songs, and music. 11-page book on the inside. If I can open it. Yeah. Some of the illustrations on here are really, really neat. I would love to see who actually, I'm sure it does credit who the original artists are. Let's see what's actually on the record here. That one came out a lot easier. All right, so you've got some of the classic songs, Whistle While You Work, Hi Ho. On the backside, a silly song, Someday My Prince Will Come. I don't even know if there's actually a narrated story on the record. It looks like it's just the songs on here, and the story is just limited to the picture book that's on the inside. It's still cool. Next one is from the movie Song of the South, and doesn't say Song of the South. It says Walt Disney's Songs and Stories of Uncle Remus, Brer Rabbit, Brer Bear, Brer Fox, featuring the Academy Award winner Zippity Doo-Dah. Now, as a lot of you know, Song of the South is a bit controversial, and rightly so, especially nowadays, but there are some good songs in it. And the story is, I don't know if any of you watched Song of the South recently, but it's a little tough to get through. Oh boy. Let's check that out. That is, I'm not even going to say what the name of that thing is, but yeah, like the other ones, it has the picture book. And I'm not even going to take the record out this one. It's got Zippity Doo-Dah, Everybody Has a Laughing Place. Some of you might only know these songs from Splash Mountain, which you can ride at Disneyland and Walt Disney World. But it is adapted from the movie Song of the South. And there you go. Next up, we have Peter Pan. I'm sure you guys, at least you should all be, if you're watching this video, I would hope that you are familiar with the movie Peter Pan. It's one of my favorites. It has great animation, great songs. This is very similar to the other ones. You've got the record on the left side. You have the full color storybook on the right. I'm not gonna, I know I showed the actual record on the other ones, but they're all pretty much the same. It's your standard black vinyl. It has the same Disneyland logo on that center label, but I will tell you what songs are on here. Side 1, You Can Fly, You Can Fly, You Can Fly, a classic, Following the Leader, Your Mother and Mine. Speaking of controversial and totally not cool in 2020, What Made the Red Man Red, that makes the cut here. And I feel like there's a couple that are missing here. There's got to be a banger from Peter Pan that's not on here, but I digress. Peter Pan. Next, we have the story and songs from Walt Disney, Mary Poppins. Now, originally, I thought that this was going to have some of the actual songs from the movie, but if you thought that, you would be mistaken. It's songs that were actually re-recorded. It does have your storybook on the right panel, and I really like the illustrations in here. They're, I think, some of my favorites. The coloring is awesome. If you can see that, hold on, let me get to one of the... Yeah, the coloring and illustrations in this is great. It has that like old book smell, and I know that's weird, but like when you go into a library and you just have like an old book smell, I really like that. But yeah, this is it tells the story of Mary Poppins, but then you have songs re-recorded, songs by Richard Sherman and Robert Sherman, known as the Sherman Brothers. More on that later. You got songs like The Perfect Nanny, Jolly Holiday, A Spoonful of Sugar. These aren't sung by Julie Andrews, who is, famously known as Mary Poppins. These are sung by Marni Nixon. My lovely camera person and wife, Catherine, is apparently a treasure trove of knowledge on Marni Nixon, and reminded me, and I feel like I knew this at one point, Marni Nixon, for those of you who have seen My Fair Lady, the movie, it was Audrey Hepburn who stars as Eliza Doolittle, but she is not the singing voice. The singing voice of Eliza Doolittle in that movie is none other than Marni Nixon. Marni Nixon also is one of the nuns in Sound of Music, starring Julie Andrews. And she also told me, really, a treasure trove of information on Marni Nixon. Her son is the original singer or songwriter, maybe singer, I don't know. He wrote the Golden Girls theme, which is a bop. Golden Girls theme, one of my personal favorites. So yeah, there you go. There's your Marni Nixon facts. All right, next we have, not one of my favorites, might get some flack for that, but Walt Disney's Cinderella, the story and songs. You guys know the drill at this point. You've got beautiful gatefold cover. You've got a storybook on the right side. You've got some illustrations and some credits on the left. And this one doesn't have a lot of songs at all. 4 songs total on the LP. A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes, the work song, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, So This Is Love. Which, I mean, those are the hits. They just, for this one, they said, let's not get any filler. This is all killer, no filler. Let's just give them the 4 hits and that's it. 2 songs on each side. I mean, it's a cool little package, but definitely not one of my favorites in the bunch. And last but not least, we have one that I think is thoroughly unnecessary. And it is Walt Disney presents It's a Small World. What's on this record, you ask? Well, on side A, it is the song It's a Small World. And on side B, what's that? It's a Small World, Part 2. This is one that I definitely haven't listened to. I mean, not that I hate the song. I know that it's kind of a joke, that it's long and you could go crazy listening to it. But I just think it's funny that, I mean, someone is throwing this on. It's like, I really want to listen to It's a Small World on vinyl right now. On the inside, you've got, on the left side, you have the words to the song. It says, a musical tour to visit the children of the world, narration by Winston Hibler. So I guess that there's some sort of narration and then a song on the record. Maybe I should listen to this. I think that the picture book on this one is really funny because it literally is just pictures of the ride as you would ride it at Disneyland. And then it just basically has captions of what you see. So the first one, it's very hard to read upside down. Beneath the Tower of the Four Winds, we start a wonderful voyage along the 7 seaways of the world. We were greeted first by a chorus of Scandinavian children while young ice skaters whirl and glide. So see, you don't even have to go to Disneyland, guys. You can just have this record and you can just read it and look at the pictures and it's like you're there. All right, so let's fast forward ahead several years to one of my favorite movies. This is the soundtrack to the 1988 classic, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. The score is by Alan Silvestri. The movie's by Robert Zemeckis. It comes with this cool Obi strip that is removable. This is done by Mondo. They do a bunch of t-shirts and prints, and some of their records are awesome. This is actually the 2019 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. I think it was out of 1,000, and this one is really cool. Oh, I love the art on the gatefold here. Very cool. And the back, you've got a cool picture of Jessica Rabbit. And this is a colored record. I believe oh, this is awesome. Inside, you have the last will and testament that you might remember from the film, that Roger writes this love letter, and it's in invisible ink. Dear Jesse, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. And this is in dip colored vinyl. Look at this. I hope this comes out cool, but hope you can see that it's clear with that green neon ooze, like the dip from the film. Now, this score is totally underrated. After listening to this, I don't buy a lot of scores. Maybe if I really like the movie, and I probably just bought it because I was at San Diego Comic-Con and I'm a big Disney fan. But this score is supremely underrated. Alan Silvestri linked up with Robert Zemeckis a few years before this when he did the score for Back to the Future. And then they developed a partnership and he did Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And just some really cool music on this. I really like this. This is a cool addition to the collection. Next up, we tread into Marvel. And what I have here is Black Panther, the album. I know that they released the score to this movie, but this is the album. It's curated by one of my favorite rappers, Kendrick Lamar, his longtime producer and collaborator, Soundwave. A lot of the music that you hear in the movie, I believe that some of them are just, it's one of those albums that is inspired by the movie. So some of these I don't think actually you hear in the film itself, but this is an awesome record. I do have a lot of hip hop records. It's 2 LPs. There's a lot of awesome songs in this. It is appropriately on just your standard black vinyl. It is Black Panther after all. You've got the song All the Stars, which was, I think, a pretty big hit for Kendrick Lamar and SZA. A lot of great guest features on here for those who are familiar with hip-hop. Schoolboy Q, Vince Staples. It's a really great album. Pretty bare bones packaging, but I believe I got this as a gift from my friend Pat. So thanks, Pat. This one gets quite a few listens. All right, the next one I have here is totally strange, but I love it. It is Mickey Mouse Splash Dance, and it is a total time capsule of the 80s. This was released in 1983. I got this record as a gift from my friend Amy for my birthday a couple of years back. And even stranger, the reason she got it is because Catherine and I, we watched this video that Catherine had taped off the TV, and it was on VHS, and then we transferred it to DVD, and now we have it digitally so we can watch it forever. And it's the 1989 Easter Parade, and it has all these weird segments, one of them being a song called Mickey, She's Got a Crush on You, which is an earworm that they're singing about Minnie having a crush on Mickey, and it is just totally 80s. So that's on here. But also on here, which I want to highlight, is a song called Minnie Mouse. And that is written and recorded by the popular 1970s group Sparks. For those not familiar with Sparks, I definitely recommend you check them out. They're totally strange, but they release really cool songs. One of them being a 1982 track called Mickey Mouse. The song on here is called Minnie Mouse. It came out a year later. I don't know the story, and I've tried to Google this countless times, but what I think happened is that a Disney executive heard that song, Mickey Mouse, which is about Mickey Mouse, and said, you know what, I really like this. Maybe you guys could do another one just about Minnie. We'll put it on this Mickey Mouse Splash Dance record. And you can find Mickey Mouse, the song, streaming on Spotify or Apple Music, but I can't find the song Minnie Mouse anywhere other than YouTube and on this record. But I definitely recommend checking out both of them because they're zany and strange and they're earworms, but this is a really cool record. All right, the next one is one that I was really excited about, but I ended up being sort of disappointed. It is Simply Sherman, Disney hits from the Sherman Brothers. I really like the cover. This was a Record Store Day release. Actually, we're recording this on what should have been Record Store Day 2020. It's a big day in the vinyl community. They release a bunch of limited edition records worldwide, and it brings in a lot of money to local record stores, but unfortunately it got postponed due to coronavirus this year. But this was last year. This was one of the pickups that I got. Now, the Sherman Brothers are known for, countless songs. They did a bunch of park songs, Tiki Room. They did basically the entire soundtrack to Mary Poppins. They wrote It's a Small World. The list goes on and on. So I was kind of disappointed in the fact that this was only it was just one disc, two sides. So it's 14 songs. This is all taken from the Sherman Brothers songbook that you can find on CD, or it's also streaming, which has 60 songs. And they basically took some of that and put it on one record. Ideally, I would have loved to see this stretched out into two discs because there's so many things that are missing. They've got some great songs on here. You've got some weird old ones like Tall Paul from Annette Funicello. You've got The Ugly Bug Ball from the movie Summer Magic. And then some classic park tracks like The Tiki Room, It's a Small World. There's A Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow, which is from the Carousel of Progress. And then as far as the movie ones are concerned, you've got Feed the Birds is the only song from Mary Poppins. And I guess they didn't want to put more than one song from one movie, but really, you gotta put at least Chim Chim Cheree on here. They've got I Want to Be Like You from The Jungle Book, The Age of Not Believing from Bedknobs and Broomsticks, One Little Spark, but they're just missing so many bangers. I really wish that they would have expanded this. The tracks that are on here are good, but I wanted more, guys. I wanted more. Last but not least, I'm going to present these two as a set. For some record collectors who are purists, they're the dreaded picture disc. It's for The Lion King and The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Now, we got these also as gifts from our friend Brianna, who got these for us several years back. And look at that. This is the soundtrack to The Lion King. This is the one side. The other side's, I think, a little cooler. Yes. So this is all the songs by Elton John and Tim Rice from the classic 90s movie The Lion King. Now, why I say the dreaded picture disc is a lot of people stay away from picture discs because to get the actual picture on the vinyl record, you have a sacrifice of sound quality. Really, it's not that bad. Yes, on a traditional black record, you're going to have more of a sound quality, but I think a lot of people get these just because they look really cool, and look at how cool that looks. This one has pretty much everything. It's got Circle of Life, Just Can't Wait to Be King. You guys know the songs, but I think that some of the underrated gems on here is some of the stuff from the score, which is by Hans Zimmer. And this is really weird, but it reminds me of the 16-bit Lion King games from the 90s on Super NES and Genesis, where they have all of the score, the songs from the score, but they're just like in the MIDI versions. And that's what, when I hear those songs, it just reminds me of being really frustrated playing the Lion King game, which if you guys ever played it is incredibly freaking hard. And I don't know how any kid was supposed to beat that damn game. But yeah, this is, I mean, it looks awesome. And then let's get into, oh, let me say, this is a pro tip for people who get, you can see that I have these in, I've re-sleeved them because I'm anal and I like to put things in new sleeves that are anti-static. But also, most picture discs come in these like plastic PVC covers, and basically the PVC from the plastic can like have some kind of reaction with the record, and it causes this like cloudy feature on the record over time the longer you keep it in there, and it'll build up and you can never get it off, and then it could degrade the sound quality. So if you get some of these and it's in those like thick PVC sleeves, if you can, buy some outer sleeves on Amazon, they're not that expensive, and take them out so it doesn't ruin your record. And last but not least, we have the songs from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Such an underrated movie. Underrated movie, underrated soundtrack. Oh, that's a cool picture. I love that. Now, this is not the full soundtrack. I looked this up. On Spotify, they have the entirety of the song that actually has, kind of like The Lion King, that has the songs and the score. This has the Alan Menken written songs, but that's it. And here's the back of it. That's side B, I believe. But the songs on here, you got The Bells of Notre Dame, Out There, God Help the Outcasts, A Guy Like You, Someday. Really underrated songs by Alan Menken. Underrated movie. I don't know the last time you guys watched this, but it is awesome. So that's it. That's all my Disney records in my vinyl collection. So thank you very much for watching. I am Matt. You can find me on the podcast WDW Happy Hour. If you haven't already, we are available wherever podcasts are streamed. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Check us out. And if you're interested in checking us out on social media, we're WDW Happy Hour on Instagram. And if you're interested in seeing some of my records, I don't post any of I don't know if I've ever posted any of my Disney records on there. Just a lot of random stuff. On Instagram, I'm Matt Has Vinyl. Thank you so much. I hope everyone's being safe and everyone's healthy, and you know that you guys are doing all right, and hopefully we'll be done and we can leave our houses soon. But in the meantime, it's a really good time to listen to some music that you guys really enjoy. All right, thank you guys. Bye.